Junk, you want that? Fell out of the case.
No, junk. All right, we're gonna put the flywheel on, so I figured I'll turn the video on here. The old camera, push the record button. I like to put the flywheel on before you put the piston cylinders on, that way the crank floats nicer. We can put the O-ring out of this flywheel, so we got our new O-ring. I like to pop that baby in there. We clean the groove out with some lacquer thinner. I want to make sure that's nice and clean. These used to be Teflon coated, they're not anymore, so just a little lube on that. Don't soak it, put a little on your finger. Now we need to install the seal in the back. We're going to use the install tool for this. If you don't have a tool, you can tap this in with a rubber hammer, but it does have a spring in the seal. You want to make sure you don't knock the spring off. There you go. Run it in until the seal stops on the bottom. Alright. Now we need to come up with a shim combination. Ken, you want to hand me those shims that you bought over there on the bench? Ken brought some shims, so we'll see what he got. We like to start out with like 26 is a good number.
You know, they didn't have 26, they had 24 and 30. There you go.
24, huh? That's what this is. What is it? Two of them? Or is there 3?
Nah, I just bought 2. Do you need more?
Well, that ain't no 24, and this ain't no 30.
It's not?
No, dude, it takes 3 to make that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I won't say anything.
Did Junior hook you up with some of that customer service again?
He had the box out. I said, do you have a 24 or...
Okay, so this is a 5. It's like a 6. So 26, 25 seems to be the magic number. It's a good starting point. On the shims, you're looking for 4.5 to 6. 6 if you're using the aluminum bearings. 5, 10. It's 5. Should take 3 of them. It's 30. It's 25. We'll give that a try. So we'll just slide those in. A little bit of lube right there where the seal's going to be making contact with the flywheel. Don't want it to burn up. I like to use an old gland nut to set this up, and then when we get it correct, we'll put the new gland nut on. You might want to use a flywheel lock at this point, if you have one. If you need one, Ken's got one for sale. Oh, that fell on the motor, man.
Nice, alright.
Just kidding.
Gonna have to say it, man.
It could happen though. If you keep going over in my hole over there.
I'm not getting in there. They almost threw that out, dude. That flywheel lock.
You almost flew what out?
Threw it out.
You almost threw it out?
Didn't tell me I didn't need it.
Just reminded you, huh? You can sell that, man. You didn't bring the impact? Need the impact's bottom drawer of the back toolbox there. Big 1/2 inch impact.
Alright.
My assistant's going to get the impact. We'll tighten this down, and I'll show you how to put the magnetic base dial indicator on there and check your inplay. Oh, look, he's
Dry it off for you, man.
Pretty good. Is it wet?
Yeah.
Oh, the shit's wet. It's raining inside the building. It's a phenomenon that happens in Florida. So this is 250 foot-pounds. Or super ass tight, whichever you can do. But you don't want to mess around with that and tighten it by hand unless you have a long bar for some leverage. So how I usually do this is a standard base dial indicator. You take it, stick the magnetic base to the flywheel. Move that out a little bit there, and then you just set your dial up against the back of the case, the flange. And tighten this down with my pickle fingers. Just be patient. Okay. So now we need 0. Can you see that, Ken? Because I can't see it. Oh, no, there it is. I got it. There it is.
Clean it up.
Watch the camera, man. Don't get in the way of the tubers. They'll be complaining.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, we have it perfect. So we have 5. I like 5. 5's good. In between 4 and 6, that's the happy. See how this is moving, Ken? We got 0 there. Pull it. Boom. 5. Okay.
Perfect, dude.
You got to have the inplay. It's a very critical step. You want to make sure that you correct the right amount of shims. We had 25 thousandths, worked out really good for us. You know, if it's too tight, you need to add shim to it or take shim out. I don't really remember, but you know, you'll figure that part out. But that's the process there. We got the correct amount of inplay now. We're going to take the dial indicator off. Pull setup gland nut out. You want to grab your gland nut from over on the bench over there. Go ahead and get the washer on there and make it Loctite. Okay.
There's that bad boy again.
There it is. Look at that bad boy. So this is chrome moly nut. It's got sort of a concave washer. You want to put the nut on the side that's pointing out. Not like this. Like this. And I always suggest Loctite on the gland nut. So it's not really an option. You should always put it on there, especially if you're using a 4-dowel crank like we are. Here we go. Dapple, do you? Okay, there's a little grease up there on the corner of that cabinet. Just put a little on your finger just to lubricate the inside of the gland nut. It has needle bearings in it.
Bucket right here?
Yeah, just a little smidge is all you need. Alright. I don't know about this nut. There you go. Don't be scared to break the nut. If the nut's going to break, you want it to break when you're tightening it.
Didn't break.
Didn't break.
Good.
But you want to show the nut no mercy. The nut needs to be tight or the flywheel will leave the motor. Okay, we did check the inplay. We checked it with the setup nut. We're going to take this back off and we're going to check it one more time. Make sure that nothing changed because the inplay is critical. If this gets too tight, it will spin the rear bearing. You don't want that. Right about 6 with this nut. It's just still good. That's why you always want to check it. So it changed about a half a thousandths, and changing to the loose side's okay. Changing to the tight side is not okay. So you always want to make sure that you have at least 6 thousandths there. I know some guys are setting those up a lot looser now. It's not really a good idea. You got that grease? There you go, a little grease right there. Take the pinky and just put a little bit of grease on the end of that bearing. It's got little rollers in there. You don't want to get too much because it'll come out on your clutch. Do we have a clutch or a pressure plate or any of that stuff yet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you had a clutch and a pressure plate, you can put that on at this time. So that's that. Hope you guys.
I have the old stuff, but I think I'm gonna go new. For those far with new shit. You know?
Yeah, I don't think a clutch kit's really that expensive.
No.
Unless your
You
wife
talked about that Kennedy.
Unless your wife finds out about the rest of the stuff, you know, it won't be a problem.
Dude, she's probably at home watching right now.
Uh-oh. Anyway, remember, I always try to use a, nut and washer. This is a Berg nut and washer, and we used an MP nut and washer, and it has that convex washer. The Berg is a flat washer. It's a chrome moly washer. But, so, you gotta use what you can get, guys. That's what it's coming down to.
How much is a Berg washer? I mean, is that a big deal?
They make the flame cut forged one. I don't know how much it is anymore. I mean, that's what I have in this. When I worked for Scooter, we put him on with a bar, because Scooter weighs about what you do, and he puts the flywheel lock on, bounces in the bar, and that's 250 foot-pounds. And I've seen two things, either in the nut brakes when you tighten them like that, and we were having lunch.
Bouncing on it?
No, we were having lunch. We had the short block set and a long block. Actually, put the nut on there, put it back in the stand, finished assembling the motor. Had it sitting there, and we were eating lunch, and we heard this big pop across the shop. And we walked over, and the nut pulled all the threads out of the back of the crank. It was a cast crank, an aftermarket, and it pulled all the threads out. So I've seen the nuts break too. The chrome moly ones usually don't break. That's why I tell you to get a chrome one. Hopefully it's a chrome moly nut like they said, and it's just not painted black.
Nice.
But, here we go.
Let me try that.
Go ahead. Alright guys, so we're going to put it back up in the stand there. I'll shut this off and we'll get the bench cleaned up. We'll go ahead and build the piston cylinders next and install those in the cylinder heads. We'll get all the components set up and we'll turn the video camera back on.